All right, hello. So you've all been invited to Trello. You can probably look through this and say, what the heck is this? I'm going to show you how to build your cards out. We've talked a little bit about what the cards are. This is a shorthand version of Scrum because of the way Trello is set up. So each of you has two cards, your card with your name on it and then the approval card. And the approval card is where, except for me, I have it done. The approval card is where you're going to put the homework once you think it's done and you'll throw it in there. Unfortunately, you're still going to turn your homework in Classroom. But for now, let's just deal with this. So what you're going to do is I'm going to give you a bunch of tasks for this part of the ZBrush stuff. And you're going to come in here and say add a card for each of the assignments you're getting for the ZBrush. And in this case, I don't really have any of the ZBrush assignments for myself. So I'm going to name this card Wolvie Sculpt. So this is my first card. And you can see that I can keep adding another card. I can say, actually, let's change this one real quick. Part 1 for me. We'll just call it that. And then I can do another one. And if you want, you could just duplicate it, but we'll say Wolvie Sculpt 2. I can spell sculpt. Part 2. Okay, so now that we have these, I need to go in here and edit. And this is where you'll turn in your homework and where you're going to show me the work you have. Now, at this point, I'm still planning on you turning it into Classroom, but for today, let's just talk about this and we'll deal with the Classroom stuff, the double duty of Classroom. I need copies of everything and I need to make sure I have the master files and stuff. So I don't want you to have to try and do that in here. So I'll go into Wolvie Part 1. And the first thing I'm going to do is come in here and describe what I'm doing. And in this case, I'm going to try and come up with the assignment. Basically, you're going to paste in the assignment that I give you for each part. That way you have it described here. You don't always have to go back and check. So in here, I'm going to say Wolvie head and hair changes to make it more like the comic book reference. Period. So I'll say save. And then I'm going to come in here and do this thing. This is not always the way people do it. There's other ways of using this checklist, but we're going to use it in a little bit different. This way we kind of get control over everything we're doing. So we're going to call this checklist progress. And this is only the progress in this part of the homework, or this section of the homework that you have. And in here, you're going to say add an item, and you're going to add in, like, say, Wolvie hair, and then we'll say Wolvie lighting, and so on. And you're going to add all the steps that you're supposed to do. And you can add the ones you think you need to do and the ones that I definitely describe. I'm going to come over here and do the same thing. I'm going to say, oh, here, make my life a little bit easier. Come back and just do, this is probably going to be the same at this point, but if it's not, you'll know because you'll have descriptions. Paste, and then, oh no, I'm going to change that actually. Add Wolvie body and render to first pass. Okay, so I'll say save. And then I'm going to come into here. Again, I'm going to write a checklist. And in the checklist, I'm going to say progress. Like that. I'm going to add an item. I'm going to say import body. Then I'm going to say first pass color and lighting. Color with materials and lighting, and so forth and so on. So you're going to add all these in. Let me go back to the original here. And then as you work, as you come to these checkpoints that either you've made or you've added or I've made for you for sure, you're going to come check it off. And then you're going to add in here Wolvie hair and then colon, changed what you did. This is where you need to come in and make sure you answer and state what you've done. This is one of those big things that the industry expects you to do, and a lot of people fail at this, and they're just so disorganized in their brain. That's why I do this early. I want you to get in the habit of doing this. I want you to describe what you did, change the thickness of front hair. Just something simple, describe what I did in this case. And then say add an attachment, come to my computer in this case. You can be from yours, you can see, you can also go to Google and throw that picture in there and then say save. Then I check it off then, after I made sure I turned it in. So it's checked off. And now I've got this shot. Then I come to, again, and after I do some more work, I'm going to say rendered, I should say movie lighting. And then to name the task I'm working on, and then rendered lighting for the head tests. Let's just say test lighting. And then I come over here, I grab from my computer another picture. I think this one we'll just do, and then I say save. And then I check this off. So anytime you check in a picture, I want you to have a part of the list. If you need to add another one, add another one. If you get comments and people have feedbacks and you use some more changes, add another one. The idea is that we're able to watch what you're working on. You can add them and check them off at the same time. They don't have to be added and then checked off individually, but you need to be done with all the check boxes by the time you're done. And then when you do, make sure you tell us what you did, because this is a super important part of it. This is what everybody needs to learn to get used to doing, okay? So then you can click off and you'll see now that my Wolverine is set up and he's in there. And everybody can see it, and everybody can comment. And what I'd like you to do is go ahead and make comments, help each other out, fill your stuff in. Okay, so then we'll come to the Wolvie part 2. And import body, we'll check that off and say imported body for texturing and posing. Then I'll grab it. I don't know if I have one. I'm going to see if I can dig up one that was before. Yeah, I don't think I do. So in this case, I'm not even going to put a picture in, but to imagine you need to always put a picture in. I need to see the progress visually too. So I'm going to get out of that. I'm going to say save and check that one off. And then I'm going to add a third item, pose. Pose movie. Say add. So I have a third one. Then I'm going to come over to here and I'm going to say first pass color with materials and lighting. And then colon, added all the materials and lighting. I know it's a repeating thing, but it's important that you do this stuff. And then I'm going to add a picture. I'm going to come over to my computer. I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to say open, and then I'm going to save. Okay. So now, what we have here are two of our assignments. One of them is completely done because all the check boxes are done. And the other one is not, because you can see it's one of 3. And that's the whole point of those check boxes. You can add in and subtract and do stuff like that. But I need to make sure that you have the stuff done. And once you think you're done, and once you've got your feedback and you think you're done with this part of the assignment, what you'll end up doing is you're going to take it and go to Melon. Well, you know what? Let me change this so it looks the same. So you're going to take it to your approval folder like that. And you're going to drag and just drop it. Okay, so now you're still working on stuff over here, but then you've also have your approval set up. for me to look at. This is where I look at it, and I will come in and I will look at it and I will comment on it and either put it into what's called the archive, which means it's done in my head, or I will drag it back over here with comments of what you need to fix. Okay, that is a very much like what the industry does, and the idea is that eventually you'll have no cards in here because they'll all go away, and then they'll all be over here, and then they'll go away too. So you'll start putting them over here. Hopefully I can grade them fast enough and put them over there, or not grade them but approve them, and then so forth and so on. And that's how we're going to do it. You each have two folders, one for when you're working and one for the approval, and we'll have one for each part of the semester, and we'll start writing up these tasks today. That's what you do, and then on Wednesday we're going to start sculpting. And I'll talk to you soon.